Mr. Burton.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks to speak for 5 minutes.
Without objection.
Mr. Speaker, you know, there's an old saying that sometimes people whistle past the graveyard. I think last night that's what this Congress did. You know, the majority on the other side rammed through a bill that's not going to do anything to move us toward energy independence. And that means we're going to continue to send $700 billion a year overseas to Saudi Arabia, to Nigeria, to Venezuela, and to other countries, many of whom don't like us at all and are using our own money against us. And while we didn't do anything about that would create hundreds of thousands of jobs in the United States, we have found that Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, we have bailed out for God only knows how much money. It's in the hundreds and hundreds of billions. It's probably going to be more than the S&L tragedy we had years ago. Bear Stearns we bailed out. AIG, $85 billion last night. $25 to $30 billion we're going to give to the auto industry. We're going to be giving money, no doubt, to the aviation industry because it's in trouble because of the energy crisis. And the stimulus package we're talking about is going to cost probably about $50 billion in the next week because the Democrat majority is going to send that to the floor. And we don't have the money. We're talking about $800, $900 billion that the taxpayers are going to have to cough up that we do not have. Now, what does that mean for the economy of the United States? It means simply that the dollar and the economy is going the wrong way. Today, get this, gold went up over $70 an ounce. If you look back over the past several years, gold was running between $250 an ounce. And today, it went up by 25% over what the average was for the price of gold. Do you know why? It's because there's no confidence in the dollar right now. And we're not doing a darn thing in this body or the other body to deal with the problem. Nothing. We had a chance last night to move toward energy independence and save $700 billion a year that we're sending overseas. That would have made a dent in the problem we're dealing with right now and would have provided a mechanism for hundreds of thousands of jobs and cut the price of gasoline and heating oil and everything else that we have to deal with. It would have moved us radically toward energy independence and would have helped stabilize the economy of the United States. And we didn't do a darn thing, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows what we did last night was a sham. It's not going to result in any drilling. It's not going to result in any more oil here in the United States. It's not going to result in anything toward nuclear or alternative sources of energy. It's not going to do a darn thing. And yet we went to the American people last night, my Democrat majority, with that bill and said, hey, we're going to solve your energy problem. And it was a big lie, a facade. We had an alternative bill. Sponsored by Democrats and Republicans, Mr. Abercrombie and Mr. Peterson, Democrats and Republicans, that would have moved us toward energy independence, that was really a compromise. Didn't allow drilling in the Anwar, which I preferred, but it did allow other things like coal shale converted to oil, drilling off the continental shelf, and it would have resulted in revenue sharing with the states that would allow us to drill. The bill that we passed didn't do any of that. The bottom line is this economy is in real trouble, and it's not just because of this Congress, but it's in real trouble because of loans that we gave to people who didn't deserve home loans and the packaging of those loans and selling them up the line. But the fact of the matter is we could have done something last night to help stem the tide by passing an energy bill that would have led us not only to energy independence, but to save about $700 billion a year we're sending overseas to people that are not our friends. It's a real tragedy. This Congress is sitting on its hands and not doing anything at a time when this country is crying out for some action. Not just for energy, not just for lower gas prices, but for some kind of a movement towards solving the economic problems that face this country. I'm going to end up by telling you this. If gold goes up $70 a day, $70 in one day, that's an indication the value of the dollar is going down the tubes. And in addition to that, everybody's 401ks and their IRAs are going down with it. This is a very, very difficult time for America, and Congress needs to respond, and we're not doing a darn thing. And I hope my colleagues on both sides of the aisle are listening. The Democrat majority needs to do something about this, especially about the energy crisis right now, and not just sit on your hands and pass bills to help get people reelected, which is what you did last night, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Gentleman yields back.